Good evening, everyone, and welcome. The May 4th, 2022 meeting of the Monroe County Legislative District Revision Commission will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Colby.
Here.
Mr. Colby is present. Chairwoman Lamar.
Here.
Chairwoman Lamar is present. Ms. Nicolay.
Here.
Ms. Nicolay is present. Ms. Ortiz.
Here.
Ms. Ortiz is present, and Ms. Roman.
Here.
Ms. Roman is present.
I would like to welcome those in attendance this evening and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you may know, this is the third of 6 public meetings for public input of the Redistricting Commission. The Commission will consider the public comments prior to releasing the proposed changes in the boundaries of the legislative districts. The redistricting plan will be adopted as local law, and the public will have the opportunity to comment on the proposed plan as part of the official public hearing in the adoption of the local law. I would also like you to know that the law authorizing the new district boundaries is subject to permissive referendum. I want to thank Commissioner Ortiz and Commissioner Nicolay again for compiling all the recommendations for our vendor, ArcBridge. They have provided the Commission with a draft map for the county legislative districts. The draft map is available to view at monroecounty.redistricting.com as well as in person at the 6 public input sessions. I would now like the clerk to proceed with calling our public speakers forward to address the Commission.
We had no one registered to speak this evening, so if anybody would like to speak this evening, just raise your hand. You'll have 3 minutes in which to address the Commission, and just kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds. And is there anyone that would like to address the Commission at this time? Come on forward.
Michael Slade, 12 Fairwood Circle, Rochester, New York.
Yep, you can come forward. The audio's right there, so I just want to make sure you get
In the first meeting on Monday night, I spoke about problems with the proposed redistricting. Last night, I mentioned the notion of compactness. Tonight, I want to speak about the law about compactness. Reading from the revised law that was done under Bill Senate 5160B last year, it says specifically, districts shall be as compact in form as practical. Reading from the county charter, C2-12C4. Further, legislative districts shall be of compact and contiguous territory to the extent possible. As far as I can tell, you have deliberately and willfully ignored this requirement. There has been no attempt whatsoever in the changes you have made to make it more compact. I believe that upon investigation, which several of us have done last night, that this is clearly suable, and probably an injunction could be sought to prevent you from further consideration because you have not made it compact. So I urge you to return this whole discussion back to your contractor with a specific requirement, noting the law, and starting from the beginning and making them compact. It's not a question of every district being exactly the same size. That's not the requirement for compactness in this case. Here it's that given whatever population you assign to a district, that it be compact. And if you look at the map, there are very, very, very few that can meet a reasonable definition of compactness. And I challenge you to show me 5 of the 29 districts that you believe are compact. I challenge each and every one of you to go up to that map and show me at least 5, let alone 29, which are compact. And we know that 26 is absurd. We know it's absurd. And yet you claim that that's the most compact that you can do for that district? This is a joke, people. Let's start over again and let's make it by the law compact. I have no dog in the fight, or cat in what you want to do in the city. I don't need to go to an academic CRT, which in this case would be contemporary redistricting theory. But anybody can plainly see that these are not meeting the compactness requirement of the law. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Come on up, sir.
Hi, I'm Bruce Mellon. I was here last night on 14 Edgemont Road. I finally had a chance to look at the map a little closer last night, and I'm kind of questioning whether the contractor you're using really knows Rochester very well at all, and I would really seriously try to engage him in that basis. I agree with him, sort of that 23 and 26 are both not compact. Other ones, some of the things having to do with Rochester, really only knowing Rochester well. The Lyle Otis corridor is split between three LDs as proposed. They really need to be kept together in the same LD. Number 2, the Monroe corridor. Those neighborhoods also, communities of common interest, need to be kept together. Right now, they span 2 LDs. There's no reason for that either. Number 3, the Mount Hope South Wedge corridor along Mount Hope is split amongst 24 and 25, and it really doesn't need to be. 25 shouldn't be having the river go down the middle of it. It just doesn't make sense based upon the communities of interest that are there. Center City being both 22 and 25 really doesn't make sense when you're trying to build Rochester in a cohesive way. 23, 24, 26 all cross city lines, and I've talked about that before. It's really not needed. And I'd be glad to discuss further the question you had last night regarding which district is disappearing, and we can talk about that after the meeting if you care to, Commissioner Ortiz. And we can talk about, hopefully you got my email last night and had a chance to look at things.
Thank you.
So I'm open and I'm available for people to talk further in more detail about some of these things if you wish. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Mercedes Vasquez Simmons.
Can you speak up, please?
Oh, sure. Can you hear me? Maybe I should stand like here so you can hear me.
There you go.
There you
Is that
go.
okay? Okay. My name is Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, and I'm a resident at 33 Fiend Street in the northeast quadrant of the city. I'm here to express concerns. The website had a variety of maps throughout the last few days. One particular version showed the north part of the inner loop shifting to another district. In the late 60s, early 70s, a decision to build a highway through the neighborhood was made. That decision severed a major artery in the city. The neighborhood was divided. Marketview Heights / Scio Street area was starved of resources. If you walk through the neighborhood today, you'll quickly see an absence of homes, businesses, and services, with 100 vacant lots within a 3-block radius. That area is plagued with drugs and violence. The area has deprived the residents of quality of life. A statement made by a long-life resident of Woodward Street had a serious impact on me. He said, "The city, county, and state forgot about us. They left us to die. We have no one to fight for us." The inner loop left a negative impact that affected generations in that area. There's now a multi-million-dollar investment to correct this error, a commitment to reconnect the neighborhoods. The plan is to fill in the inner loop, removing that physical barrier. Dividing the area again with new redistricting lines will have the same negative impact as the physical barrier. Let's not repeat history. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Come on up.
You can come on up. You can come up closer.
My name is Suzanne Mayer. I live at 121 University Avenue. I'm here. I also belong to and founded Hinge Neighbors, which talks about how do we bring neighbors together when the inner loop is filled in. We're with Sean Dunwoody, and we're very involved in that process. We want to make sure, and at first I wasn't convinced that the redistricting was connecting, because it's all about reconnecting communities. So we're very insistent and hopeful that the 22 that you have is considerable there. Downtown also needs to be connected. We all think about our downtown now. In my area, we report to the Southwest Quadrant for our neighborhood service center. And that is a problem because a lot of people can't travel that far. There are people to the north of the inner loop. They go to the northeast quadrant, service center. So it would be interesting as we look at downtown, is there a way of putting downtown the service center? I know that's a city thing, it's not a county, but it would be helpful in this redistricting that you think about that. How do you bring the voice of the downtown together? Downtown is a very important part of it. There are a lot more residents, and we need to work to improve that and continue working on it and the growth. But in continuing the neighborhood of Market View Heights, South Market View Heights, and Grove Place, we're bringing them together. I ask you to come on June 5th because we're going to celebrate how it's going to actually come together. We'll have close the bridge and have it connected, so come. But this way we want to keep it connected and influence anything that we can do that way to meet together more often. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Come on up, sir.
On a small scale,
Your name.
Mike Bleak.
Thank you.
I live at 940 Mount Hope, which is right there where 24 and 25 kind of go against each other, or whatever the right word is. So I would suggest, to the extent as possible, have 25 maybe come up Wilson Boulevard and take the U of R and the dormitories in there, but that 24 should go at least up to the cemetery or through the cemetery and just separate it that way. And that could be from Ford Street, south from Ford Street. So that's my suggestion there, just in my neighborhood. I do agree with the first person's comments about districts like 26 and so 23. If there's a way to make them more compact, I think that would be good for, again, to build the neighborhoods, to strengthen the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Folks to know there are longer districts than 26.
Anyone else?
They're forgetting about me again.
I thought this 23. I'm not 23.
No, I said they're forgetting about me.
What?
Is it okay if I adjust this a little bit? I'd like
Absolutely.
to
About your distance.
like this, I think. I want the panel and the others to be able to see. Okay. You haven't figured it out. I'm doing a night-by-night installments here. I'm Dave Gerritsen. I live in Greece. Last night I spoke about the concept of east and west, which is how a lot of us think about our community, whether we're on the east side or west side of the river. Last night I talked about east Arundequoit and west Arundequoit, the school districts, etc. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about my own neighborhood. I live in Greece, and this horseshoe-shaped district, that's where I live, that's 6. And last night we had Lashana Booz talking about cracking and packing. I'm going to talk about that concept later. And we had Mike Slade talking about compactness last night and tonight. I live right here in this little crook here, and LD19 is across the street from me. If I walk about 10 minutes, I can get down here to the intersection of LD20, and LD26 used to come there too. That's been fixed now. East and west applies to Greece also. This neighborhood that I live in, and the Stone Dewey neighborhood, is a blue-collar low-income neighborhood. You can still buy a house in that neighborhood for $60,000, $70,000, $75,000. This is the neighborhood that when people are looking to get out of the city, maybe to be in a different school district, this is one of the suburbs that has an affordable neighborhood in it. In fact, right here next to my house, about half a block away, there's an elementary school called Long Ridge. Almost 900 kids are in that school. 75% of them qualify for free lunch. In fact, in the eastern schools in Greece, many of them have food banks in the school. There's 2 food banks walking distance from my house. Now contrast that to the western part of town here, where we've got McMansions that are in the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 range. We've got Legislator Colby, again, school districts. We've got families in this area that are just as likely to be in the Hilton or Spencerport school district as the Greece district. There's a night and day difference between the people who live in the western part of town, the people who live in the eastern part of town, and then yet another thing is the people that have waterfront homes. And yet, the districts, instead of going north-south, how do they go? They cut the other way. They go east and west. In fact, I don't know how much time I have left here, but before the 2011 redistricting, we had, Mike Slade, compact districts. We had a District 6 that was like this, went over into Charlotte a little bit. Okay, I'm done. I'll pick this up again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, you would like to speak again?
Well, I just want to ask a question. Is there a possibility of asking a question?
Sure.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude at all. On the map here, it's very funny that Delavan is
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
on the map on the District 22. Delavan is noted on there, and Delavan is a street that maybe has 4 houses on it. And the University Avenue is not even marked on the map. It seems rather archaic of the people who are doing this, that they would not put a main street in your map here that designates where it is.
Those are blown up from this, so it probably
It's a
probably
GPS
was noted,
thing.
but on the next map over.
I apologize.
Like University Avenue is one, you said it wasn't on the blown up map. It's probably because it's noted on the neighboring district.
But it doesn't even show that it's a street. If you look at it, I'm serious. It looks like there's not even a street there. It says University Avenue, and then you have this little crook, which I don't understand is there, except that it's the way University comes in and connects. But the map is it's very weird the way it is. Okay, and that's the only question I have.
Is there anyone? Come right on up.
Barbara Grosh from Penfield. So as long as we turn the map here, I'll talk about my neighborhood. Last year I talked about my district, which is 15, which used to go all the way down to contain some trailer parks down here. And I confess before redistricting, I had never looked and seen what an absurdly long district that was. So look at what you've done. You've given us in Penfield a lovely compact district, okay? And like I'm in Penfield rather than Webster, but I'm in the Webster School District. So going to what Legislator Colby has mentioned, like we're together, right? These are the neighbors that I'm now talking to as I try to figure out the school district elections. And now I'll be able to talk about them, about legislative district elections. Like it builds community to be districted with people that are like me. And I just keep thinking about comments I heard on Monday night about this district in the city, which has been cut apart from the neighbors that they know and talk to. And I'm sorry, but I cannot get over District 26. And I ask myself, who would do this? Why would they do this? I mean, there is no logic by which to do this. And I have to say the same thing about District 20 Like, that is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So the only reasons I can come up with in my head for why someone would do this is to preserve seats for sitting legislative members, which is strictly illegal. So somebody said the word suing earlier about compactness, and I have to say, you know, this is totally crazy. There's another reason that a person might want to bring a lawsuit, is that the only way I can make this make any sense is a strictly illegal motivation, which is to preserve seats the way they are for sitting legislators. So I want to thank you for District 15. You did a lovely job for us. I just keep looking, you know, we've organized debates with people over here on the west side, and there's like 5 neighborhood district associations in that district. It's impossible even to work with them to organize a political debate. So I really wish that you could go back to the drawing board on those.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Come on.
Come on.
I just want to thank you for being
Come on up.
Oh, sorry. My name is Sarah Yaborski. Just want to thank you for being here after the last process, because even though my district works for me, and I live in the 27th, and it's good, but I can't be satisfied until everybody's district is fair, and I hope nobody is. So thank you so much for listening to people and get a good list.
Thank you.
Do the maps keep changing as we this is the final?
We're not we haven't changed the maps. Don't anticipate changing any maps until after all the public hearing. Because if we start changing them in the middle of it, it'd be more confusing. So we figure we're going to wait and listen to the 6 nights of public comments, and then we will proceed from there, however that is. I should have let you answer that. I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions, comments? There being none, this concludes the public hearing. I would like to thank everyone for their participation in the redistricting process on behalf of the members of the commission this evening. I would also like to thank Wilson Foundation Academy for their hospitality. The next meeting for public input is scheduled for tomorrow, May 5th, 2022, at the Monroe County Legislative Chambers, 39 West Main Street, room 406, at 7 p.m. This meeting is both available for public in-person attendance and on Zoom. All of the information for Zoom is available on the Monroe County Legislature's website at www.monroecounty.gov/legislature-DRC. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow.